Let's go indeed. Good evening. It's Monday, which means it's time for Enterprise at 8. Who's excited? Come on.
Just leave it alone, Jody. Just leave it alone. Come
Why? All right, anyway. Jeez. It's been about 20 years.
20 years?
That's right, Trip. Since tonight's episode, The Expanse first aired, but we're just getting started here at Enterprise at 8. I'm Jody Simpson, and my co-host is the man whose place is not to disobey the high command, Adam Woodward.
Hello, Jody.
Hi. Nice sweater.
It's my Christmas Star
Trek sweater. Oh,
very good.
Nice.
Very good. I like it.
Nice.
I like it. All right. And, of course, joining us tonight is some other people as well, of course, which is tonight we're also joined by Live Long and Podcast Awesome producer and the man who you call if you need all the muscle you can get to cross the expanse, Dave Mater.
That's right. That's right, Jody. Why are you so obsessed with Makos, Jody? What's up? And the Expanse?
We're gonna find out.
Why are you so obsessed?
Oh,
So just let it alone.
Just let it alone.
No, I'm not letting it alone. I'm like Trip. I gotta get into the Expanse and kick some ass. That's what I gotta do. But of course, guys, who could also forget the man who delayed us for a cup of tea, Kevin Millard.
Hey.
Is it Earl Grey and hot?
No, but it does say eat a bag of dicks.
Okay,
well, you know.
It's on brand then.
That's definitely on brand for Kevin anyway. As I said, tonight's episode is The Expanse. This is the 51st episode of the series, and this is actually the season finale for season 2. So we're actually at our halfway point, boys.
And it's actually the finale of the show that was known as just Enterprise.
And as of next episode, it'll be Star Trek Enterprise, funny enough. And this episode is basically about after a devastating attack on Earth by an alien probe of unknown origin. We find that out later. Enterprise is recalled and sent to a strange expanse in a new, more vital mission. Da-da-da. All right. And we find out later who's responsible. Anyway, quick thoughts, guys. What do we feel?
I'm most curious to hear.
Leave me on a cliffhanger.
What's that?
Why you got to leave me on a cliffhanger?
Because it's a season-ending episode.
Yeah,
you know, like every episode of
TNG.
TNG. Yeah, TNG, like every season finale.
Yeah,
was a cliffhanger.
And you had to wait.
Realistically,
and a lot of Deep Space Nine ones.
Yeah, you only have to wait a week, Kevin. And you don't even have to wait that. You could literally just hit play and watch the next.
You could just go right to the next one. But
but
you had never seen this before, right, Kevin? So
no, I've never seen it.
All right. So what are your initial thoughts here, Kevin? How did you feel about it?
I feel like they're trying to do a Deep Space Nine here. The show's floundering a little bit, and they've decided to put an arc.
Yep. They're throwing arcs in here now. Yeah, for sure. Well, and the Expanse stuff ends up tying into a lot of stuff we've already seen. Like for instance, the Temple Cold War. It's got links to that. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Do we ever find out who the Emperor is?
The Emperor? Oh, you mean the time traveling man?
Yeah.
I'm not going to ruin that for you.
Okay, so yes, we do. All right.
I think we don't. But I'm not quite. Is he called the Emperor?
No.
It's a Star Wars crossover.
Oh,
he's just making the.
I wasn't necessarily even putting that connection there. Okay, yeah, I get you.
But Adam, how'd you feel about this?
You know, I think we've toyed with the end of innocence for Archer and crew before, but now we've hit it because Trip got upset.
Yeah.
You know,
Trip's mad now.
Yeah,
and rightfully so. But
and you think about TV back then, you know, like Next Gen prior to what was before 9/11, you know, very optimistic and stuff. And I think that these guys kind of caught on that people wanted to see a little more end of world, you know, dire situations, and really jumped on this new timeline.
Yeah. One of the most successful shows of the 2000s, early 2000s, was Battlestar, but also a show called 24, which was
Yes.
the Jack Bauer show,
Yeah.
which happened to debut right after 9/11, and it was all about kicking terrorists' ass and all this kind of stuff, right? So I felt like they were like, let's do some of that. Like there's, after an attack, I think the connection here with Tripp's sister that they put into this is meant to, I think, have that.
Well, and I like how they treat Tripp's sister as well, because like you can see that he's struggling, but you really get as this thing keeps going, you actually get more and more into it. Like I don't want to spoil the next episode, but there's more to unravel with Tripp. It's not just a matter of Tripp, is just on, the vengeance crusade kind of thing. There's more to it. But we see that later on. So, but anyway, let's get into the episode, I guess, Dave. You got some screenshots, I'm guessing?
I sure do.
The man always has the screenshots.
Yes, and just out of, I guess, subspace, this thing just emerges.
Yep.
With little explanation, very interesting design. Well, we're gonna find out. There's more to come, Kevin. So I don't know how much I want to tell you about.
Reminiscent of the Borg.
There is definitely a Borg vibe thing going on here.
Yeah, there's another faction coming.
I had forgotten about this, honestly, and then it catches you off guard. It's pretty serious what happens here.
Well, and this is really like, this is probably the best cold open of the series, because we're always shitting on the fact that their cold opens are terrible.
Suck.
In the show. They do suck.
It's not a high bar, but yes, I agree. This is one.
Yeah,
of the best
it's not a high
openings.
bar, but it definitely, this one grabs you. You're instantly going, oh wow.
Oh wow, yeah. And especially when you see it on this level, just this thing cutting through Florida.
In my mind, I'm going through, okay, what cities are down the middle of Florida? Orlando's gone.
Mar-a-Lago's gone.
It goes all the way down into Venezuela as well.
Cross Cuba.
What's interesting is the fact that the thing cuts, but then it eventually gets to a point where it's hitting water, and then it just keeps going for a while. So it's like, this probably isn't the best way to cut part of the planet when like there's no population in some of the areas that it hit.
I think they were making a point.
Yeah, the whole point is to test something, right? Like that's really
because they're building a bigger weapon that's going to be even worse.
This is just a test fire, right?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Do they really need a bigger weapon? This one's sufficient.
This one seems pretty effective.
7 million dead in what 8 seconds? It was pretty effective.
Seconds, yeah.
Well, that was interesting too, Dave. Is like when the crew's in the mess hall, I guess, and they're waiting for Archer to come back, and he comes in and he says 1 million dead. He gets the brief from,
and then it keeps
getting, and then went to 3 million, and then 7 million. Like that's a huge scale.
It felt like that was kind of maybe like a 9/11 thing, because like those casualty lists kept changing.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
And so like I would think just too that it's like sometimes when there's an attack like that, just even counting the number of dead is a whole process in itself.
Yep.
Well, in this case, I think they'd be vaporized. They're gone. So you have
and we have to remember there's a 3-month period here that they don't really count for more other than just we all of a sudden see that they're now back at Earth, but it takes them 3 months to get back to Earth.
Right.
So that's where you're getting that 1 million.
And then there's a lot of time jumps. So from this opening scene to like the final scene where they're going into the Expanse, I think is like 3 or 4 months.
Oh yeah. Like this isn't this episode probably stretches over a year realistically. This one episode
because they get back.
They get retrofitted. Then the Makos join. Yep.
And then it's 7 weeks still out to the Expanse.
Yeah,
it seems like a long time.
And then they say, there's another 6 weeks where they're just flying through part of the Expanse, and he's getting frustrated. But that's something that
that's the next episode, right?
Is that the next episode? Okay,
I think the next episode is.
Sorry, I watched them both at the same time, so I might mix some things up here.
There's another 6-week time jump to come in the next episode.
Yeah.
So, so a lot of time goes by.
Again, like I think this show does a really good job of explaining how vast space is, and it's 3 months from Earth. I work 5.
Yeah. Travis says it's gonna take us a while to get back. Okay, like, well, we better as well get going.
What do you do when you're going back, like for 5?
Well, not only that, but you also have to remember, like, they're festering with the knowledge that, like, Earth has been attacked and they're so far away that, like, there's nothing they could have done. So it's like, they're on their way back to see what damage is. And by the time they get back, they find out it's 7 million people have died. Like, they keep getting updates during this 3-month voyage back, right? Like, so it's a very gruesome episode, really, when you think of it from that angle. Like, there's nothing happy about this episode, and that's kind of, in a way, I think it does it well. It does a really good job.
This episode also got high praise from Ashley. It's
really?
The first one she watched, and she said it wasn't terrible.
Oh, well, that is very high praise from Ashley.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Well, okay. And the other interesting thing about this story that just hit me when we're pulling this up is that it has this whole Klingon subplot where Duras,
which we didn't need.
We did not need this. I agree.
No.
We didn't need it, but I understand why they put it in, but it's not needed. Like, it's really filler for the most part, but we're also linking the previous stuff to this because Duras is still after him. We only had an episode recently where, he was almost handed over to the Klingons.
I
like
guess
that.
they had to close the loop, and they did that. So
yeah, they kind of had to close it at the same time. So I guess it serves a way of stopping and starting at the same time.
I was actually glad when the episode stopped and they didn't start a new story. Like, yeah, because I was thinking the whole time through the Klingon stuff, like, this isn't needed. There's something else coming. There's something else.
Can we go back to what's going on in Florida and Venezuela? Why are we? But yeah, it was like they felt like they needed to tie up this storyline of Archer having escaped the Klingon prison. But also, I think that, like, they just wanted Archer to be a badass in this episode and get the drop on this guy and kill him, which he does, right? So,
well, it's almost like in the episode was like, I'm just tired of this guy. Just get rid of him, Archer, please.
Yeah.
Well,
and I also think it's supposed to show you that because everybody who's grown up with Star Trek was introduced to Klingons in the original series. The Klingons were bad guys and blah blah blah. So it's kind of to show that this new this new species that we're about to be introduced to is worse than the Klingons. Like, they're yes, we get rid of the Klingons in this scenario, but we now have a bigger problem.
But
right?
we can handle the Klingons.
Yes. Well, and it's supposed to show that progression as well, right? And that's where the retrofit comes in.
I think
stuff like that.
It was the Klingons were mostly, I think, a device to show off the photon torpedoes.
Yes. Well, and I think that's to link that as well. Yeah. So,
and I think they've been making an effort to make Archer more of an action kind of a captain, more of a Kirk-like captain, I would say.
Yeah. Eastland, hello.
Hello.
And Sam says hello as well. So hello, Sam.
He also said best episode yet of Enterprise. So hey, he's with.
Well, we'll see on the ratings. It has its faults. It has its faults as well, but it's a solid episode, I think.
Did you guys at all think that, how much did Archer influence this attack? Because somewhere along the line he's crossed paths with somebody. I don't know.
I don't know if he's directly responsible. It's this whole temporal Cold War thing,
Well, you know what though, Adam? I think you are right, because later on, I'm not going to spoil it, but later on, we do find out that his interference has definitely created this problem. So we do find that out later on.
You guys can go ahead and spoil anything you need to.
I don't want to spoil it because I can't remember anything from now on.
He might spoil himself.
I remember some of it, but it's kind of patched together because it's been a while since I've watched it. So I really don't want to spoil it to the point that I might be wrong in some scenarios. But I do actually remember them saying that, well, the temporal thing definitely was his fault. There is definite issues with that. So, and that's kind of where the Xindi come in as well. So in a way, Archer is kind of at fault. In a way, I guess, but
can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
What is this room they're in at this point? Archer.
I thought that too. Like I thought it was the mess hall, but it's not the mess hall. It's off
not
the bridge.
The mess hall. It's some kind of conference room that they
Yes.
never use.
Okay, no, this is actually the retrofit. So this is
they haven't had the
or
retrofit.
sorry, no,
This is
not this.
the retrofit.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm getting confused. You're right. This room actually, I don't know.
Because
Good question.
like Phlox is here. He's like, I can't remember the last time I've been asked to come to a staff meeting. I was like, when do they ever have staff meetings on this ship? Like, and if they do, it's around that table in the back of the bridge. It's
Or-
But this is a
around
ready
the-
room.
Or they
So this this is probably just a breakout room or something like that.
he prefers to have his staff meetings over breakfast, one at a time.
It's
so you
true.
can move
yeah.
around.
It
Yeah.
takes them like 12 days to actually say something to the staff because
But they actually have a conference room. I was amazed by this.
Yeah.
And they invite people like the doctor and others to like sit around and like, of course, Archer does not sit down and he never talks. Like I feel like this was a Bakula thing. He's like, listen, I'm not going to be one of these talking heads around a table like Picard and his cronies. I want to be a man of action.
I want
a
to be
man
the
on
guy that
feet.
just stands there and then eventually goes and kills things.
I had a
And talks
boss
to the
once.
wall.
Yeah.
I had a boss once who like had one of these like standing cocktail tables because he only wanted to have standing meetings because he thought because apparently
Oh,
standing
yes.
meetings go
Yeah.
faster than sitting meetings. So
You know what goes faster? An email.
Yeah.
That's even
Yeah,
faster.
no meetings.
Yeah, no
No
meetings, just email.
Yeah, well, that also helps. But anyway, so the case like Earth's been attacked, we've been recalled, and they head out.
He wants
He
the
wants
quantum leap into action. I like that one.
Good one, Murph.
Good.
Yeah, and then there's this whole thing where I don't know, like I think Trip's sister has been mentioned before, and they've mentioned Florida before, so but not much about this, but
Not enough that we would need to care. Let's put it that
yeah.
way.
But he goes, did they say what part of Florida got hit, Captain? He's like, oh yeah,
and
you're
there's a
from Florida.
definitive trauma there, and that's something that we do get into later on with Trip and the trauma, and that's kind of what leads to him and to Paul being so close, actually. So that's like the first stages of that. So it's definitely something that they are working towards. It's not just a filler thing for him.
No, oh yeah. So this is right after the conference meeting, and they're on their 7-week journey back to Earth, right? At this point,
yeah,
we're gonna get this
yeah.
quick time jump, but he doesn't know yet his sister has been killed or what part of Florida was hit. Like that's all very vague, and so they don't have that here. But there's kind of this exchange. But we can see that and I think Connor Trenier plays it well.
Yeah, I would agree.
T'Pol shows up to say the Vulcans, we found the ship that attacked and the alien involved, and
Yeah, and they
basically have
found
no
the alien.
answers.
Yeah.
Well,
and they're only getting fed little bits of information, right? Like it's because you also have this ship that really is going to turn into a warship. Like that's really what's going to happen. When they go into the Expanse, they're going with all intentions to cause trouble. So, it's
stop the annihilation of Earth.
yes.
Yeah.
Loading up with Marines, weapons.
Well, they're loading up with, military personnel and new weapons.
Military
and
assault command
retrofitting their ship.
operations.
Like this is turning into a warship. Like that's really what it is. It's they're going to be at war.
But I think they're also struggling with that. Like
Yes. Yeah.
because they're not military.
No, but that's one of the reasons why we get the information later on in the episode.
Yes.
He's like, "Are you okay that you're going to have military on board?" And Archer's like, "Oh yeah, I don't have a problem with that."
They're not military, but I feel like even in this crisis is an example of how Starfleet becomes at least a paramilitary organization at times.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that.
It.
Yeah.
So
I still think it's a branch of the military. I mean,
well, I think it is. Yeah, it's even if you look at the Coast Guard, for instance, the Coast Guard is technically a branch of the military,
Right,
even though they really don't do any active attack or anything like that. They're mostly for protection.
Coast Guard's a good analogy for them, or NASA, which has
Starfleet
military.
Starfleet is the Star Guard.
Star Force,
Space Guard.
I think they are what they need
Space
to
Force.
be, depending
Space
on what the
Force.
situation is. But they have court martials. If they have court martials, they are somehow a military organization.
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody doubts that Starfleet is a form of a military organization. They're just
some of the
not...
Star Trek writers seem to have a doubt about it, but
some of the series for sure, yeah. But look at DS9. DS9 is a perfect example of the fact that they're really an occupation force as well. They occupy a space station for the exact reason to make sure that, these things don't happen again, right? Like it's so
Well,
in a way, I think they really are kind of like the Coast Guard. I think that actually is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. We're at the episode, part of the episode where the Sula band show up with all their little ships.
Well, and I think that's kind of fun that they put the Sula band in, because you're like, oh, look, the Sula band, those assholes that have been like nothing but a pain in the ass for like the last like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They show up, and it turns out that they are not even remotely close to the problem right now.
Yeah, and they're
you know what?
climbing
Like,
on this.
Yeah, that ceiling though. Sorry, that scene though is like you can see Archer's just annoyed. Like,
Yeah, he's like, seriously, I got fucking Klingons I got to deal with.
yeah,
Somebody
I just want to
attacked
go
my
back
home
to
world.
Earth and find out what's going on, right? Like, I don't
And
have
everybody
time for
just
that
keeps
stuff.
showing up.
These weird, freaky Sula bands climbing on the ceilings and
These bloody elastic
dislocating their
bastards just keep
elbows.
showing
and-
up.
Yeah, and they only take Archer, right? Everybody else.
Yeah,
That's
it?
right. Yeah.
And there's just like, huh? And then he's like, he's over here on Silik's ship. And Silik shows up. Hello, John.
Hello, John.
What do you want, Silik? Did you attack Earth? You jerk.
Yeah, the Sula
Promote
band
your
almost
top-
turned into that like the henchman of a bigger organization in a way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they kind of I think when they first introduced Silik, he was meant to be the big bad or one of like the sort of the nemesis of
Be a
Archer.
recurring character that was supposed to be like an evil presence for sure.
But they clearly moved away from that as the series went on, or they, and they made Silik just kind of this henchman of this bigger plot. I think that the actor is quite good, and I think that their chemistry is good. But they just the show wasn't doing well in the ratings, and I think they were a little bit in this thing where they didn't know what
and
to
we
do
also
with
have to look at the cost involved, because they're a very unique race that definitely is hard to portray without doing CG. So
and I don't think that they committed to them either. I mean, we haven't seen
No,
them in a while, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing with like the blue
Klingons.
guys and
Yeah.
Andorians and all that. Like, we're introduced to all these races, but no one has been really the main mean guy other than literally the Klingons for the last like 5 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So
Silik's been the closest thing, but he was here for the first episode. He was here for the season 1 finale. He was here for all the temporal Cold War stuff. So I think they had bigger aspirations for him, but they just moved away from it.
well, this isn't the last we see of them either. Like,
No,
we do get them back later on, but yeah.
And this guy,
yes,
I hate this. I don't know why. I just hate it.
yeah, I'm not a fan either.
Just not the plot or whatever. Just the dude in the thing, the dark. Like, I just hate it. It looks
Well,
stupid.
the whole point is it's supposed to be that he doesn't exist on their temporal plane, right? Like, he exists.
Yeah, I get the point.
He exists in the
hate it.
future, but yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, I agree.
it would have been okay, I think, if they had a great payoff for it, but I don't think they had their payoff. They didn't know what
There's a payoff later with him, but
Is there?
yeah, well, it is still tied to the Xindi, so that's the reason why he's
I don't
introducing
remember
us
that.
to that.
But,
Yeah, well, in a couple episodes, you will.
all right.
Well,
But
more than a couple,
I
but-
feel like it would have been interesting to if he had been like Archer from the future or something weird, I think that there was more potential here, But anyway, in this scene, Archer just does what he does, which is walk around a lot,
walk and talk.
It's just-
Yeah, walk and talk. He's got to get that in.
He's like,
That's how he gets his steps in one day. That's his exercise.
Yeah,
But
just
still
likes to walk
curious.
around.
What we don't see is him checking out his Fitbit all the time, right? Like, oh, how many steps have I done?
But basically, he explains this whole temporal Cold War that Earth's been attacked by the Xindi because the Xindi apparently are going to be wiped out by humans in 400 years from this point.
Yeah.
Which would be the 25th century, I guess.
Yes.
And so it's like he was like, we didn't attack you, even though we've been enemies in the past because Daniels was obviously opposed to this guy. In their earlier meetings, but now that I guess it's okay. Kevin said I can spoil it, but it's the sphere builders are the ones who are pulling the Xindi's strings, right?
Yes.
So the sphere builders are from this other dimension or something, and
Yeah, they run on like a different plane.
Yeah, and so they build spheres to convert the universe into like their kind of into more like Delphic Expanse like stuff and whatever. So anyway, so that's
there's a lot more to that though. It's not just that,
but the Federation's going to stop them in the future, so therefore they're using the Xindi to fight the humans in the 22nd century.
Yeah,
that's the anyway. I feel like there's still more here, and I feel like that story is still yet to be told. The temporal Cold War, we know from Discovery that there's a huge conflict that basically leads to them banning time travel, and by the 32nd century. So like I would like to see that play out. I think that's an interesting story to tell.
I think that the story was too big for them to tell
at the time.
Yes, I agree
with that, but I'm like, you can pick that story up again. Like Star Trek has so many properties, or do a new show. Or
yeah, but think about it if we looked at it like from one of the other series. Like think about DS9. How hard would it be for them to talk about the Dominion War in the first couple seasons of that show? Like it would have been really hard because there were so many things that they had to kind of establish first before they could get into that. Yes. So I think that's kind of where they were going with this is like, you got to remember, this is a series that only went 4 seasons. Like,
yeah, but at this point though, Jody, they're like midway through second season. They're like, okay, our ratings stink. We got to do something.
Yeah. This is the turning point.
We've got the Andorians, we've got the Klingons, we've got Suliban. Who are we going to do?
Yeah.
You know, and
create this new threat, the Xindi, and behind them the Sphere Builders, and I feel like it was a good. Like I feel like they really made an effort here, and I really like season 3 of Enterprise. I'm looking forward to these episodes and this whole arc. It wasn't enough, I think, ultimately to save the show. I don't and to bring.
It definitely wasn't.
At the time, like I was.
There was
tuned
too
out.
much lost to it already.
Kevin was tuned out. Ashley was tuned out. Many Star Trek fans were tuned out.
I was tuned out by this point.
You know, and so
see, I wasn't. I remember when this actually aired.
Well, it's good. It's good that you stuck with it, and it was. I think it was like that was the right thing to do.
Because I remember this cold open. I remember going, "Holy shit!" Right? Like, what's going on here? Because at this point, we didn't know, right? Like, we didn't know about the Xindi or any of that. So it was quite cool.
Yeah, like I just think like they have to set things up, and like you're right, Deep Space Nine had to set up that Odo was this outsider. So when they reveal that his people are like the founders and the Dominion, it's a huge thing, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And the whole temporal Cold War has been interesting doing the fun facts because Berman and Braga didn't want to do the temporal Cold War at all. They wanted just to, right? That was like the studio making them do that or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it was just like.
Yeah, this show would have been great if there wasn't so many cooks in the kitchen. That's really what it ended up being. Is you had all the studio execs, you had Braga, Berman, all those guys in it as well. Like everybody was pulling each other. So there was there's no straight line as to where they were going with this show, and I think that's what killed a lot of people off of it. Like, imagine going through a year of this show. Like, think about where we are now versus where we were a year ago in this show, or at least a season ago. Things have changed a lot. Like,
it's improved a lot.
Oh yeah, and but the problem is that it took that long to improve, and it still doesn't have a lot of direction. And I think that's the problem that a lot of diehards really had a problem with, right? So
there was a few things. This was Star Trek's only first real attempt to do a prequel show.
Absolutely.
And I think that there was they were still trying to figure out how do we do a prequel show about this huge universe, like where, and so that they're often trying.
They're going to be setting the canon, Dave. I mean, they're by doing this show, they're taking things that may or did happen with the original series and then backing them up even further. Either legitimizing them or setting something new,
or contradicting things. Like I hate this Klingon ship design. It looks too much like the bird of prey of the 23rd century, and I feel like that it kind of takes away from that a little bit, But that's just me knowing that. I know the casual fan might not pick up on that. Like, so it's
and again, that's what this show was about, right? This show was supposed to pick up the new generation, so to speak, like the new crowd, right? So that's what it was supposed to pull. So do you think they could pull people with the old Klingon design from the original series,
or
in the 2000s?
something
Probably not.
that's like, I don't know, that seems more like closer to the 23rd century, like the original series Klingon.
If anything, they overdid the ships in this show, because that's one thing we've always been consistent about is we're always saying, wow, those designs look pretty cool. Like, so in a way, they've almost overdid themselves, which actually could be a fail as well, right? So
I'm still okay with them breaking original series stuff. Like,
yeah, me too.
I mean, the foreheads, like, you know, like,
well, Next Gen screwed that up, right? So Next Gen.
Well, actually, it was motion picture. The Star Trek
yeah,
motion
actually, you're right.
They were the ones who introduced the Klingon redesign.
There you go. Good point. Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. So
I do. Like a show. This show looks like when they show ships and it wasn't CGI. It was thanks, Sam. It was. They did such a great job in their presentation and in visual effects, except that Emperor guy. Like, they blew that.
Yeah, that was terrible.
The Temporal Cold War guy.
The Shadow.
The Shadow Man. That Silic.
They actually have an actual name for him, but I can't remember what it was.
This part of the episode is like later on when the Klingon Duras attacks Enterprise, and then these other Earth ships show up, and I was like including the Intrepid. I was like, oh, good, it's a star fleet. There's more than one ship.
Well, they are called Starfleet.
Yeah, I know, but we never see the other ships.
I was really surprised when they showed up.
I was like, oh, you have ships? You have some other ships, guys?
I was also surprised because all the other shows have shown that there are never ships near Earth.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, though, this is the only one that's Warp 5 class, right? All the other ones that you saw weren't Warp 5 class.
That's fine, but
they can't go as far, guys. They had to stay in the area.
As soon as they put Warp 5 in every ship, they just were all gone.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Earth. That's it.
They're like, fuck Earth.
As far away from here as we could get.
Let's see what's out there.
Anyway, so Duras has to retreat in a most dishonorable manner here. And yeah, we see the other captain. I think his name is Hernandez or something. But he comes. I was like, another Starfleet captain. I was like, look at this guy. It was like you know.
Welcome back, John. Welcome back.
We finally
it was jarring.
Yeah. I gotta block somebody. There we go.
Actually, it's from the 28th century.
Right. It's not just Forrest and this ship.
Forrest in the ship, and Keith Carradine, who died off screen on a mountain somewhere. So,
turns out they got at least one more ship.
Right. Anyway, good to see you, Captain. They're back, and we see Earth over.
I love that shot.
Yeah, and we see just like that Florida's been bifurcated.
Yeah,
big scar,
big old cut in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just looking on at the.
And I love the tenseness of this scene as well, because they're all looking at this for the first time. And they're all just like, "Holy shit, we've been attacked."
Trip especially with him having the connection.
Well, Trip is like, "Oh, my sister was right there."
Yeah, if she had been across the street, it would have been okay.
It would have been fine.
Yeah, she was just in the wrong place, wrong time. Yeah.
So Memory Alpha calls that figure the humanoid figure. That's what he's called.
He's called the humanoid figure, guys.
The humanoid figure. But he's got a hell of a long list on Memory Alpha. Yeah, he is.
Anyway, and then Archer's down here talking to Forrest and Saval. Because Archer kind of talks about the whole thing about the time travel and temporal.
Our science directorate has determined that time travel is impossible.
Impossible, guys.
Well, you're clearly wrong.
Yeah. Archer's so like.
Archer's like, I talked to a guy in a tube or something.
Yeah.
He said he was from the 28th century. Obviously, time travel is fine.
Check the wiki, Soval. The humanoid figure.
Humanoid figure. It's right in there. Soval. Jeez.
Yeah.
Don't you got Memory Alpha on your planet?
He's like, well, I think at one point he says, why didn't they tell us about this before the attack? And he says they said we wouldn't believe them.
Well, Saval wouldn't.
Saval doesn't believe anything. And
he's the most science-based person.
Yeah,
But
Gary
again,
Graham.
Don't you find again they're really showing how much influence the Vulcan High Command has over
I
them.
love that though. I love that.
The Vulcan High Command says time travel is not possible, so therefore it
it's
is
not possible.
Therefore, it's yeah.
But
But why is Forrest so like afraid? Like he's it's like he has to be like Archer has to always talk him into like not listening to Soval, I guess,
Yeah.
Which
I think that Forrest is more of a political figure. He's got to manage both Earth people and the Vulcans.
He's almost like the liaison in a way.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of both. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like if there's any curiosity, I mean, one of the science things, curious before judgment. For crying out loud, just hear what he has to say, and he has to be dragged in to hear it.
Yeah. But he doesn't have respect, and he's like, I think he makes this whole pitch. He's like, he wants to go to the Expanse, and Gary Graham Soval is just like, you don't want to go there. Like the Klingons got turned inside out, and they were still alive, and it's
I love that line.
It's a bad place,
and they were still alive. It's
And they
like,
were
whoa,
still alive. Wow.
Splayed open, splayed.
Yeah, that's
What
rough.
a way to describe that, though, eh?
Yeah, he's like, you don't want to go there, and I think Archer says, "What do we have to lose? One ship?" I was like, "Well, it's not just one ship, Archer. It's like
It's the
like
only ship.
the ship."
It's the only one that's currently Warp 5 capable. The other one's in space dock being built right now. So yeah.
Yeah, and it said be another
16,
year,
16
16 months until NX-02 is ready.
Yeah.
So it's Columbia, right?
Yeah, Columbia.
So but anyway, they come down. They're scanning the wreckage of the weapon, the Xindi weapon. I'm going to prove to you time travel's real, and the quantum dating, and he goes, look at this, I found this thing in here, and it's from the future, basically, according to the scanner.
I have a problem with this because somebody had to program this quantum scanner. All right, and in no way would they have programmed something that said negative, right? Like, they're not going to do that. They're just going to go, nah, I don't know how to read this. Like, there's no way it's going to be able to go, oh, it's 700 years minus. It's like, okay,
look right here, Soval. I got the thing. It's from the future. Check and mate. He's just, and he's like, oh, I think so. I like what Soval says to him. He's like, just because, that doesn't mean you're right. Just because
I don't have an explanation doesn't mean that yours is correct.
Right. Which I was a good line. Or your assumptions are correct. And then we see the body of the pilot of the weapon ship. He's a little crispy around the edges.
I would say he's done for sure.
Yeah, he's a Xindi reptilian specifically, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's a reptilian version. Yeah,
and there's many Xindis,
but at this point we don't know that.
Yeah. And so there's they're kind of figuring out, and then the next scene is we see Columbia. Before, or is this meant to be Enterprise in dry dock? I think maybe that's what it is.
This is Enterprise because
this is Enterprise.
Columbia, they're still putting the
hull plating,
the hull on Columbia. Yeah, so
which I thought was Enterprise. I'm like, did they take the whole fucking ship apart?
Yeah,
what the hell are they doing?
Maybe they can install everything they forgot to install when they left the first time, though. So like this other doctor shows up, and
I like this though. I like this idea. That
Soval sent this guy.
Yeah, because Soval's such a dink that he's got to send something like this. Yeah.
To scan for radiation or some kind of radiation from the wreckage that presumably that Admiral Forrest was right next to as well, so he would, in theory, would need the same examination. He's like, do you believe in time travel? Do you think, and he's here just to, I think, maybe just.
Well, I love how annoyed Archer gets through this, right? Like you can see his frustration just keeps
Phlox
going.
Too. Phlox is like, I'm looking you up. I'm checking your credentials.
Yeah, I love how indignant Phlox gets.
Yeah.
It's an excellent performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I looked you up, and the only doctor, whatever, is like some kind of botanist or something.
No, he's a psychologist.
No, he's psychologist. It's the same guy. But turns out he's not a medical doctor. He's a psychologist, and You know.
Oh, so he. Oh, okay. I didn't put
He's
that.
the right guy. It's just the wrong
he's not
field.
impersonating somebody. He's
No.
He's okay.
No. He's
No,
under
they
pretense
sent him
that
up
he's
saying, medical doctor, and he's not. He's a
he's
psychiatrist.
not. He's a psychiatrist. Yeah.
Can you prove that this human captain is mentally ill?
Like,
he
it's
believes in
just-
time travel.
I can't stand this Saval guy. Like,
I love Saval because he's such a dink. I hate him.
Well, there's not much to like about him. Yeah,
I
but-
just, you know what? You just want to see like Archer just walk into a room with him one day and just punch him. Like,
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you just want to see that, and I love that. So
yeah, and then when Archer figures out what's going on here, he's like, "You get, he doesn't get indignant. How dare you come out here on false medical pretenses or whatever?
Have you no ethics?
Have you no ethics, sir?
yeah,
You know." And then Archer tells him to get the hell off my ship. He's like, I was just doing what I was told by Soval, you know. Anyway, so he leaves, and then next scene is down in Florida.
yeah, and they're looking at the
Trip and Reed looking at the devastation. You know, what you guys think of this?
It's sort of Borgish, you know, when they.
It's very Borgish, yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that one episode of Next Gen actually, where they show the same kind of idea.
Some of the CGI does not hold up, I will say, but some of it does. Here at the Cafe Rico,
and the movie theater was just over there.
yeah, I think this is.
I
meant to
wonder
be
if the Cafe
song.
Rico thing has to do with Starship Troopers.
Or no, Cafe Rio. I'm sorry,
Oh, it's Rio. Okay.
RIO.
Because it was Rico, it could be Starship Troopers, which something similar to this happened in
Yes,
Starship Troopers.
yeah, Cafe Rio, and he was like, yeah, well, she was probably like, how far is that? That's probably like a mile wide or something.
Yeah.
Around there, yeah.
So, yeah, it's like if his sister had just been a little bit over here, she wouldn't.
But it was also an energy weapon, so we don't know what kind of effect it had for the range outside of that initial
or the radiation.
part, right? Yeah, the radiation as well. Yeah, could have killed a lot of people.
Yeah, they're looking.
But if that's
at
the
it.
case, why are these guys walking around in there?
No.
But,
And the heat wise, it doesn't look too bad either. On the buildings aren't scorched or anything.
yeah, so it was very, very precision killing.
Yeah. And then here's Columbia as it's getting built.
Yeah, that's Columbia. Yeah.
And the nacelles are just kind of floating there, and they haven't been attached.
Well,
yet.
they haven't. Yeah, they're not fully
I
attached.
know. I was just like, why are they taking the Enterprise completely apart?
This seems counterproductive.
New hull plating, Kevin. They're getting everything's new.
Everything's new.
Everything's new. It has Archer and
Maybe
Forrest.
they won't have to use that fucking grappler anymore.
Maybe can we get a tractor beam? Maybe, yeah.
Tuesday.
Everybody else has these tractor beams. Do you think we can get one of those?
No, you need a grappler. It's
You got a
the best.
grappler with a
Who needs a
cord
tractor
on
beam?
it. Yeah.
You got a grappler. You know, and he was just, you know, talking about, and in this scene, 60 months till Columbia's launched, but he's also saying, you know, you'll be back by then, as long as you don't die. And then he says, everyone on Earth is counting on you, by the way.
No pressure.
No
Yeah.
pressure. Oh,
No
okay.
pressure.
Sure, no problem. You know, he's they have an interesting relationship, father-son-esque, I'd say, between these two.
He's very an admiral like, you know, compared to
Yeah,
other
he's more like a father figure to Archer, it feels like.
Well,
than
yeah, you almost get the impression that he's kind of like the replacement for his dad, right? Like maybe him and his dad were friends at one point or something.
That would have been interesting if they had made that part of his character, you know.
But I don't think they did.
No, they didn't, or they, you know. So some missed opportunities too, I think, because considering how much this character is part of the show. But anyway, next scene.
Well, based
is,
on all the acting, they probably shot all of his scenes for like the next like 20 episodes in like one shot.
Yeah, they probably did.
He's
give him
always
all
wearing
this.
the exact same thing. He's usually
only
by
have to-
himself.
Yeah, you only they have to pay the dry cleaning bill once.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next scene is Phlox and DePaul, where she's like, your shipment of beetles are here, your snuff beetles or whatever the heck they are, and she's like, how do you know they're not for the human doctor who's replacing me? She's like, yeah, right, like they
They
would
wouldn't
know
even know what to do with them.
with your snuff beetles, You know, he's like, "Oh, you're right. You got me there."
I did like this conversation though, because as the only two real aliens on this ship, like they have to decide, are they going to go with the humans or are they going to just take off, right? So
Yeah, this is interesting. Flock says for him it's all about loyalty and sticking with the captain, but
which
for
he's had a lot of disagreements with Archer as well. So it's kind of interesting that he still has the loyalty to him, you know.
Yeah, I know it is interesting, and I don't know if that loyalty is fully earned, but okay, great. And good for Phlox. T'Pol is conflicted because the Vulcans are not going to let her go on this crazy mission in their mind to the place where people get turned inside out. So
I don't know why.
But again, it's like the High Command's never going to let him go. Like she's at this point never even considers that she can quit.
Yeah, and she's like, it's not for me to question the high command. He's like, nonsense, you do it all the time.
But and that's the thing that I like about, especially with her whole kind of thing especially in season 2, we really got to see her kind of branch out into being somebody who's actually part of the crew instead of kind of the outsider, right?
Yeah.
So
And
you
this episode,
definitely get to see some of that loyalty now.
This episode is like a big crossroads episode for her, where she's got to decide.
Well, a lot of things change with her character too after this episode, so it's interesting.
Well, she's gonna get turned inside out for one.
No,
Yeah,
she gets a different haircut and a different outfit, though.
She'll probably pick up some smells. And then the photon torpedo scene is the next one here with Reed and Tucker.
These are photonic torpedoes.
These are photonic torpedoes, and they have to reconfigure the tubes and everything but they're anti-matter warheads.
Well, I like how he explains it though. You could knock something off of a ship, or you could, put a 3-mile crater into it. It's like you could go either way on these things. So
you can program the yield based on what you need, which also then transitions into this next scene where Reed is just asking Trip, what about your sister? Are they gonna have like a memorial service, or are you going to do anything for your sister?
Well, and this is where you see the badass Trip, right? Like, and this is all through this arc. Trip is an asshole in this entire arc, which is kind of good.
Yeah.
I'm getting real tired of you telling me what I can and can't do.
Yeah, don't you be telling me. He's like,
well, especially out of everybody on the ship, do you think he wants to listen to Reed? Like, Reed is the most useless shit in the world when it comes to this
like,
ship.
well, my sister is no more important than the other 7 million that got killed. And he was like, well, she's more important to you. That's okay. I think he's just trying to be a friend to Trip.
Well, he is trying to be a friend, but, he doesn't want a friend right now. He wants vengeance, right? Like this.
So just let it alone.
Let it alone. Leave me alone.
This guy is, Trip is basically the con of the show, right? Like that's, he's going for vengeance now.
Yeah, he's pointing his finger, get out of my face. Why are you so obsessed with memorials?
Let's get into the Expanse, kill some people, eat some crawfish. It'll be great.
Yeah. So he walks away from Reed here, and then it's, I guess the next is, this is where they're like, someone's like, want to see a scary movie?
Yeah.
The Expanse?
This is the Event Horizon scene.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like, let's dim the lights and watch a movie together, everybody. Movie night.
Let me show you what happened.
Yeah, this is what happens in the Expanse. This was the Vulcan crew that went there, and they're all like, like festival. They're watching this.
That's great.
It was hard to get any like good shots of what we see, but we see them basically attacking each other, smearing blood. Chaos. Yeah, smearing blood on their faces.
My question is, who's shooting this?
I wondered that myself, Jody, but I just let it go.
Because like those camera shots are all over. They're panning in and out on people, like going nuts and shit. It's like, who's the guy that's actually shooting this at this time? You can't tell me that the log cameras are that sophisticated.
Well, the ship blew up too. So how did they get these images?
Well, they must have transmitted them just before.
Must have transmitted this, yeah. But there's a lot of close-ups, them watching it. This guy's getting the Vulcan death grip. It looks like, and then this guy, his look on his face is like, don't come here. No star review on the Expanse.
Yeah.
And then they show
the
this video.
producer shit in that place, man.
They show this video, and then Archer's just like, "Is that all? Can I go now?" You
Yeah,
know?
he's like, that's great. Vulcans died. I don't care. We're going in anyway.
Yeah, let's
He
go.
goes, maybe you could send Saval in there next.
He is completely unaffected by
Yeah,
the
he doesn't care. He's just like, I don't care about your inside out Vulcans. Okay.
He's like, I did not even see one inside out person.
Yeah,
So I'm
they
gone.
all look like they were rightfully fine. I don't know what
Yeah.
your problem is. Yeah.
So he completely dismisses it, and then a scene here with Saval and T'Pol outside of Fleet Operations, Starfleet Command, where he's like, you gotta go back to Vulcan and get like decontaminated from all these humans, and then you can come back and work with me here in San Francisco.
Yeah, I didn't really understand the logic on this. He's like, you've been gone for so long. You should go back to Vulcan for a while.
Yeah, get
And then come back.
Vulcanized. Yeah.
What ministry was she going to work with, or what department?
The diplomatic wing of Vulcan.
Like she is part of high command, so
Yeah.
technically, yeah, she's probably going to be.
She's
It was
attached.
intelligence. Something. It was intelligence.
Yeah, she used to be an intelligence. Yeah, when she did that like bounty hunter thing back in the day, or whatever. She used to. Anyway, but yeah, but he was like, you can't defy the Vulcan High Command. You know what that would mean, T'Pol. You know what that would mean.
Yeah, that'd mean a different haircut and a different outfit. That's all.
Yeah, like what is she really giving up? Like I don't get it. But
short
A
hair.
career.
Yeah,
career.
it's her
She can make
career,
a career anywhere. She's space. Anyway, so there's lots of opportunities, namely on Earth, if she's looking for such things. Anyway, and then
But where else could you be a science officer who is completely uninterested in science?
Only
it's a great
Starfleet.
place. It is the best job for her. She's like, this is awesome. I'm a science officer, but I
never have to do anything.
I can be completely uninterested in my job. And then Forrest says goodbye here to Archer. They have like a little bit, handshake moment or whatever.
Well, goodbye.
See you later. Good luck, John. He's like,
good luck. I'll be checking in from you time to time, like I have been recently, and never making a decision. Good luck.
Yeah.
Did you think also when he's talking when they're coming back in that 7 months, he's talking to him every 5 minutes. 2 million's died. 3 million's died.
It's up to 3.5 now, John. So,
if anything, maybe that's all Admiral Forrest is good for, is just egging on Archer.
He's just like his booster man. Like he's like, you're so good, Archer. Like,
and then they reuse the dry dock footage again.
He's almost like a Hank Scorpio level boss.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, and then these are from our intro, aren't they, Jody?
Well, they are, but they're also from the first episode of the show.
They just reused the
It's
same
literally
shots.
the exact same shot.
It's
Even
all
has
even
the
these
guys
guys.
on there and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
But
like,
yes, we do use this for the intro.
Right. You can see all those refits and upgrade retrofits are very apparent.
Archer was a lot happy the first time around, though. He's like, "Let's go."
Yeah, and the Klingons
And now
apparently
he's like, "Let's go kill stuff."
the Klingons are just biding their time. Apparently,
They've been hanging out for months.
They're really got a hard on for him.
And then they follow them for 7 weeks to the Delphic Expanse after this.
Exactly.
But Duras has got to get his honor back, right? I mean, he'll wait for
us.
Okay, let's get to these two drinking. And talk about the weight of the world is on their shoulders.
I like this though, because this reminds me of that part of the movie, right? Where the two of them are having the drink after Spock's dead.
Well, it also reminds me of like this scene in Star Trek Beyond with Bones and Kirk. They kind of have like that Glenn Fittich, and it's really about Anton Yelchin, the guy who played Chekhov, who had died. Like they're really having a toast to him. But feels a little bit like that scene too.
20 years earlier, but yeah.
Yes, yeah. I think that they.
But it's the whole command in arms thing, right? Like comrades in arms,
Yeah, he's like, when I first went out into space, I was the captain of the first Warp 5 ship. I never thought I would have to save the world or save the human race or whatever.
Yeah. But that's the job description of every captain.
Yeah.
Every captain.
Turns out later on that they update the job description, and literally every other captain has that job.
I don't think you knew what you were getting into, Archer.
Michael Burnham has to save the planet every season, the whole universe.
The universe.
That's true.
But a big part of this also too is that we're not going to be doing that.
Tell me we won't be tiptoeing around. None of that non-interference crap Nepal's always shoving down our throats. Maybe it's a good thing she's leaving. We'll do what we have to, Trip.
I do like that scene though. It hits me. It hits me enough. I'm good with it.
But that maybe Trip should not have been allowed to go on this mission.
No,
Because he's a
no,
little-
we
well,
have to
he's a
have
little-
Trip.
He's a little
What
too
anger?
close to it. You take
What?
another engineer on this particular mission.
Yeah, he's the engineer that knows this ship the best. You got to send him.
He's emotionally compromised.
And every
No,
time
he's
they have
motivated.
to, every
Yeah.
time they have to build a weapon that they forgot to build in space dock, who's going to build it?
Not Reed.
Not
Not
Not,
gonna be
Reed. No, he won't even install it after 8 weeks of doing nothing. Anyway, they get Duras attacks again here, and they're like, "Let's get on our photon torpedoes." And they
I do
Yeah.
like this though because they shoot the photon torpedoes for the first time. They've shot them at the Klingons, and the Klingons are like, "What the fuck is this? Like, what's going on? Like, all of a sudden these guys know how to do stuff. Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
So, I did like that though because it kind of puts a stop to, we're now equal to the Klingons, but now we have a new threat, right?
right.
Yeah.
I guess they had to make the Klingons
Because
less-
let's be honest, every time they've come across the Klingons, for the most part, they've gotten their asses handed to them for the most part.
They had to make Enterprise a tougher ship.
Yes. Yes.
It
yeah.
kind of is a Star Trek thing. Like,
Yep.
Starfleet ships are usually way more overpowered than
They need to be.
anyone else.
right.
Like the Starfleet seems pretty sparse in every other series.
Yes. But they
Yeah.
always have a good armament for
Yeah.
an exploration ship. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I guess what makes Enterprise a little different than is that like the Enterprise is the best Earth ship, but in comparison to the Klingons, the Vulcans, and these other powers, they're behind.
way
right?
underpowered.
Even
Yeah, but
Andorian.
again, I think that's part of the Vulcans' point is that they were way too idealistic leaving, space dock when they did, and wanting to make friends with everybody, and it's not like that out there.
Yeah, this is a rough road you're on. Like this isn't just like, a picnic. You gotta
Which is part of that drinking scene is one thing Archer says is like, I never thought everyone would be trying to kill us when we got out here.
I don't know.
Well,
after the
he's
first
so-
couple
he's so
episodes, you
likable.
should have figured that one out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Everybody tried to kill you, even once you left space dock. Everybody was
if he
trying to
just
kill
sat down for 10 minutes, it would be much better for him.
you. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, and by the way, this is apparently the part where they were supposed to be taken to Paul to Vulcan, which apparently is now taking hours, if not days, which didn't make sense. Vulcan's very close to Earth. And so like this trip, like this was just to drop her off.
Well,
on
it was
their
supposed
way.
to be like a 3-day thing. Yeah.
It doesn't take 3 days to get to Vulcan. We see
What the hell do you know? You don't live in this.
I know that in Star Trek, Star Trek the movie 2009, they get from Earth to Vulcan in 7 minutes.
How fast are they going?
I don't know, but it wouldn't take 3 days at warp 5.
Wow, who is this person?
Just want to show you guys my Christmas tree.
Oh, let's see. Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see Adam's Christmas sweater?
I also wanted to comment on that. I love your Christmas sweater, Adam.
Thank you.
I like the
Thank you,
fact
thank
that it has the graphics from like the original series, like crappy monitors on it
Yes.
as well, which is great.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'd also like you guys to comment on my name.
Pan fried scalefish.
Fantastic.
And you guys love this episode, right?
I
Yeah.
do.
It's good.
Okay.
Okay, good.
I was just saying, why is it taking them 3 days to get from Earth to Vulcan? Doesn't make sense.
But we're already at the hour mark, and we can't have Davin jump in now.
No, I'm gonna jump out of here for a second. I just jumped into recruit for debate 9. How many? You want to do debate 9, right, Kevin?
When is it?
I don't know. No
Sure,
at that time.
then.
Yeah. So who wants to fight Kevin in debate 9?
Oh,
I
not
will.
me. There you go.
Adam. All right, we've
Adam-
got it.
Adam's
Adam,
taking the-
Kevin, and Mr. Scott. That's the episode.
All right. Is it all right if we
I've
get back
done
to
what
our
I've-
podcast now?
Yeah, I was just.
Cool. See ya. All right. Anyway, like send a message. Anyway,
No one ever answers the messages.
that's true.
He wants to get Ted into the fight. He wants Ted
Yeah,
Maynard.
good luck with
in there.
that. Good luck with that.
It was the 60s. They didn't know better.
They didn't know better. That's the answer.
Be it resolved.
Everything was great in the
Um,
'60s, guys. I don't know what's wrong with you.
That would be better. Anyway, so this is where she's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave Enterprise. I want to stay here with you. And he's like, yeah. You know, because he's like,
You know what's rude? Interrupting my damn podcast. That's what's rude.
I really like this scene. This when he's like, "Oh, there's nothing that you're excited about going back to Vulcan?"
Yeah.
And he's listing all the things, and she's like, "I've grown."
We don't smell. We don't smell.
she's like, I'm used to your smell now. It's good.
Yeah.
Well, he's
because-
trying to give her reasons not to stay, and she
Okay.
just keeps coming up with reasons to stay, right?
But like he left Earth without a replacement for her for the science officer job. Like that makes no sense.
Well, no, he said he had somebody in mind.
Who?
Well, we don't know. We don't
He
care.
mentioned the name of the person, of the crewman.
No, he says
Yeah.
I've been thinking about who to promote, but he doesn't. I don't think he gives a name. Anyway, I was just like, well, it's kind of important. If you might need a science officer when you're going to this crazy Delphic expanse that's going to turn you inside out, and that might be an important position to hire for before the mission that's here to save the human race.
Devin says it was probably Travis. Oh dear God, they would be screwed.
Oh yeah, and
He's like, let's just tell ghost stories.
Sam's been trying to get you banned from hosting trivial debates.
Yeah, Sam can stick it up his ass. Anyway, let's keep going.
Anyway, and he says, hold it up, Travis. We're not going to Vulcan. We're going to the Delphic Expanse.
We're going to the Expanse. Let's go.
Yeah. T'Pol is a runaway Vulcan. Let's go.
Yeah, T'Pol has decided she doesn't want to be part of High Command anymore, and she wants to wear different clothing. So let's go.
T'Pol has gone AWOL.
Yeah.
AWOL
T'Pol. That's what they call her.
And then Hoshi's like, cool, and Reed's like, oh.
He's like, I don't remember. Did I put the photon torpedoes on? I don't remember. Did I retrofit those? Yeah, okay.
And this is the 7-week time jump that it takes them from to get. So, but Duras is.
Yeah, that's one thing I have a complaint about on this episode. They never really they kind of tell us in dialogue, but would it have killed them just to put a little a little thing on the bottom that says 7 weeks later or something like that? It wouldn't have killed them.
I would have just like to understand how did the Klingons follow them for 7 weeks
and not be detected.
Without being detected, without ever trying to
They
attack
have
them.
cloaks, guys.
No, they're like, we're gonna.
Yeah,
At this point in
But
time?
they're not supposed to.
absolutely.
The cloak's
They're
not
more
invented.
advanced than we are.
But the cloak's not supposed to be invented in the 23rd century.
Yeah, they didn't
Oh,
have
really?
them in the original, right?
No, not
Well,
until
they had them at Kittimer.
The Romulans had them first, and then the Romulans traded them to the Klingons.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
so
Okay. Yeah. No. Then I wonder how they're doing that.
they shouldn't be.
Maybe just Archer is so.
Archer's looking forward. He's not looking
He's
back.
like he's looking
I always
towards
forward,
the
never
Expanse.
never backward.
He's
And
like,
looking
I'm
at
not
the
looking.
Expanse.
I'm not looking at the back. I'm not looking at the back.
The sensor readout is on the arm of his chair, so he never saw it.
You're gonna love this chair, Captain. What did you see? Got all the bells and whistles. Anyway, so Archer gives the thing here, and we get a little transition that goes right into the ship flying through, which they haven't even entered the Expanse technically.
No. No, they're still in the. They're just about to enter the outer crust of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No, then on sensors, but then I don't know. Paul looks in her little telescope thing or whatever, and then
Which I like that they had that in this series.
Yeah.
Because that
They
was a
don't-
callback as well, and they do that in Strange New Worlds as well, which I really like.
yeah, that's cool. And then she's like, yeah, there are 3 things out there, Klingon ships, and then they're attacking. Tactical alert, and then boom, boom, boom. The Klingons, but considering that Klingons are afraid of the Delphic Expanse, it's curious that they waited to attack.
I
until
did like
after-
the line that they said though, because he's like, "Oh, it's probably just the buoy that we just let out for the communication boy. He goes, not unless you release 3 of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh.
Right. So they're attacking here, and he's like, let's go deeper into the Expanse. And
well, they're going into the Expanse anyway. It's not like it's really a far call to go deeper in.
Yeah, he wants to go faster, and Trip's like, don't go faster. You're gonna blow out.
Yeah, all the
manifolds.
the
Manifolds.
manifolds are all going nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did like this part where he's like, surrender, where I got this.
Surrender or be destroyed.
Go to hell.
Go to
What the hell?
Yeah,
That's my answer.
Yeah, the minute he said that, I'm like, that's what Kevin would say.
Go to hell. That
Go to hell.
is his best acting moment in this show.
So far.
Yeah, and then so they're coming through here, and then they try to fire a torpedo at the Klingons here, but they've put all their power at their forward shields. So, and the other 2 ships won't follow. So it's only Duras' ship that follows here too. Never up with that part. So the other 2 ships break off because they're too afraid of the Delphic Expanse.
Which is sort of against the whole Klingon thing, glory of the Empire. We're too scared of the Delphic Expanse. We got to go back.
Well,
Yeah,
but I
he's
think
like,
it's supposed to
cowards.
establish the fact that if the Klingons are scared of this place, we probably shouldn't be going in there.
But the wind does not respect a fool, so it could
There
be
you go.
also that adage, like Kayla said. Can't be afraid of the wind, according to Archer. Anyway, so they're just like, he's like, hey, Mayweather, do you think you can do a whatever maneuver, an alley-oop, basically?
L2, whatever it was.
An L2? You think you can pull off an L2?
Modified Top Gun.
Yeah. Can you do a top? It's basically a Top Gun maneuver.
I'm surprised they didn't go with like, do the Archer maneuver 4 or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised they
But-
didn't do that.
Attack pattern Archer.
Yeah, attack pattern.
He
Archer.
talks about being so hard, and there's no gravity. There's no resistance.
Yeah, hold on
Oh,
to something.
All
Hold on
he
to
did was
something?
all
Why?
he did was go up and around. Like there's nothing to
Yeah,
it.
you literally did a loop. That's all
He
you did.
just pulled the stick back.
Yeah, just pull
Don't
the
make
stick
me
back.
do that again.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Mayweather just tries to make it so like everything he does looks harder than it is. Like
Yeah.
he literally probably just hit a button and it did it automatically.
Because he can't find them because they're like, we're gonna do I don't get it. Like I get that their sensors maybe did detect it, but I don't think that this was a great piloting maneuver per se.
No, it wasn't.
Nothing special at all. If they weren't in a cloud of dust, that wouldn't have worked at all.
Yeah,
No.
the Klingons are like, wait, did they
What?
do the loop-de-loop maneuver?
Yeah. And Archer,
Damn them!
but Archer gives this order here, like I think to Reed, and Reed's so happy he gets to blow up.
Yeah,
the ship.
Reed's just like, I get to fucking finally shoot shit. It's great.
Yeah, but like
I
this-
love the Expanse. Let's kill stuff.
right. Well, they blow Duras. I don't think he's coming back from this.
No, he's done.
No,
Yeah.
he's pretty done.
Yeah,
I did like the fact that this is the only Star Trek series that kills a Klingon ship and doesn't blow up the cockpit area at the last shot.
Yeah, it's just
Like, have you
but
ever noticed like that always
yeah.
is the case? They blow up the thing and then the thing kind of swings towards the camera and then it blows up at the end in like a final explosion. That didn't happen here. It just caught on fire.
I actually noticed that. I
Yeah.
actually felt kind of empty when it was done.
What did
I'm
you?
like, I didn't
Oh,
get
see, I
that
felt the other way
payoff.
around.
Yeah, I didn't pay it off, But like this is Archer's like first kill in space, right? Like, him destroying another ship.
Oh no,
so-
he's destroyed other things.
has he like another like an enemy craft in a combat scenario like this? I don't think so.
I'll get back to you on that. I don't remember.
When he had to flush those 2 Borg drones out at the airlock a while ago, like that was a big deal for him.
That's true. Yeah.
So he's killed people now. Like this is in self-defense, but it's in war. But it's good job, Mayweather. I can't believe you pulled it off. I don't know how you did.
Don't
that.
make me do that again.
Don't make me do that again. All right. And
You mean your job or act? Like, what is it?
He doesn't know.
anyway, he looks around the bridge. He's like, "Good job, we won this battle. Good job, everybody." Looks at Paul, and she's like, "Whatevs," and and then he just kind of looks out into the horizon here, and the Enterprise is Going into the Expanse, into the unknown, guys. Cool shot, some good music here at the end. And
Looks like the Matara Nebula.
I do like how they ended this episode, though. I thought that was a good point to be ending it at, just because we know.
Now we're wondering when they're going to go crazy.
Well, I want to know when they're going to be inside out. That's my thing.
Yeah.
And will he sit down when he's inside out?
No.
No.
How does that work? Yeah, that's a good question.
All right. I know it took us an hour and 10 minutes just to get to this. Just to get to fun facts, but
all
here
right.
we are.
There's a lot, but I'm not going to do them all.
Fun facts with Adam.
Thank you.
No
So this is a cool one. When completed, where am I here? Pardon me. When completed, this episode came in 10 minutes too long, just like our episode tonight, resulting in the editing out of several scenes. The subplot featuring Archer's previously unmentioned love interest, Becky, was removed entirely.
Good.
And a scene dealing with Hoshi Sato's decision to remain aboard despite the risk were also cut out. We almost had a Hoshi episode.
See, I would have been okay with Hoshi being like kind of on the fence because she was never really wanted to be on this ship to begin with. Like even at the beginning of the series, she was like kind of like, I don't want to be in space.
I'm glad they took it out because they did that at the beginning of the series. I don't need.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to do it twice. Yeah.
Right, and like there's all these people who would love to be on the Enterprise. Don't waste my time.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the beginning of the Xindi story arc, which the crew searches for the Xindi weapon. This also became the first time in Star Trek history that a full season was entirely devoted to one overarching hit story.
Find these Xindi.
Yep. Although the Dominion story arc of Deep Space Nine spanned several seasons, it was usually featured in several episodes as opposed to the entire season.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. They didn't really focus completely on it all the time.
And it kind of when we get to like the season 3 finale, and I'm curious to see how we feel about like, was it a good thing for them to do a whole season on that or not? But
we'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, you look at Discovery. Sometimes you get tired of that one storyline going on and on.
Discovery is a perfect example of you shouldn't be doing that.
Yep. And since you guys mentioned it, a bottle of Dorton's Best Kentucky Bourbon, without the label this time, makes its second appearance in the series when Trip and Archer are also having a drink together. The first appearance
on the stash in Shuttlepod.
Yeah, that's right. Shuttlepod 1.
Yeah.
It's a fictional brand named for Louise Dorton, the show's art director. It's actually a bottle of vodka.
That's neat, though. I like that.
They can giggle all at once, but the galaxy's not getting any of our bourbon.
I love that line. That's still a fun episode. It shouldn't have been, but it was.
Yep, the Xindi weapon ends up cutting a groove so wide that it's visible
nice
from
bum.
space. Yeah, she's got a nice bum.
Yeah.
So the groove is so wide it's visible. Thank you. Try again. The Xindi weapon ends up cutting a groove so wide it's visible from space. When we see the groove, it cuts through Florida, Cuba, and Venezuela.
Yeah.
But there's actually a goof there too. If you notice that there was water in the bottom of it, but if they cut right through the bottom of Florida, it would be flooded. It would be like a river.
Well, at least that part, yeah.
I hadn't thought about that.
Should have a lot of water in it, yeah. That's a good point. Now I'm just disappointed.
Create a new intercoastal.
Yeah, it's just New York also. That's right up the middle. Dr. Flock's accusation of questionable ethics leveled at the Vulcan physician Farad, who questions Archer under false pretenses, would likely ring hollow with the Vulcan High Command. In Enterprise, Stigma is Phlox who employs a subterfuge in requesting a medical research for a mind meld disease. Remember, so he's done this too. Phlox is not. Yeah, he's not innocent.
That's true. Yeah.
Gary Graham Saval was once considered for the roles for both Benjamin Sisko and Catherine Janeway before the decision was made for Janeway to be a female and Sisko to be an African American.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been a good lead.
No.
He's also in the episode with Odo and the Vortex episode. Oh, it's terrible.
Oh yeah, that is a terrible episode.
Yeah,
he's a little stiff.
He's a bit stiff. I liked him in Alien Nation, but his character in that he's like a cop.
He's in Alien Nation, yeah.
Yeah. The show, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like the movie,
show, actually.
Okay, Captain Archer's closing line. Let's see what's in there. Mirrors Captain Picard's closing line in Next Generation Encounter at Farpoint. Let's see what's out there.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. But it was so weird because it's like almost like this hopeful ending, but then then it's like dun dun dun, the Expanse, the Xindi, Earth might just be destroyed. So it's like it's musically it feels very conflicted at the end because they're like it's hopeful, but it's also
the thing I thought was interesting is the fact that at this point they have an entire military crew on with them as well.
So, we didn't even talk about that,
but
yet.
they don't even show you in this episode.
I think we haven't talked about it because there was nothing to see yet.
But I thought that was kind of interesting that they have this entire military presence on the ship now, but yet don't show any of it until the next episode. So.
Yeah, and I'll leave it here. This episode was nominated for an Emmy for outstanding special effects for a series. And
was it because of Travis's pilot maneuver?
Oh,
maybe. And I have one more.
Sam says that I'm a bully to you, Adam. Is that true?
Huh?
Yeah, I don't get that either. But anyway,
no. And get this one: Trip has a sister in Florida, and I have a sister in Florida.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Hopefully yours is much safer than his is.
She lives in Tampa.
So just let it alone.
Let it alone.
Let it alone.
All right, let's bring in the ratings, everybody. We're finishing up season 2, and guys, season 2 already has a marginally better average than season 1, so it was an improvement. Jody, where are you going with on this one?
I'm going to do a 9 on this episode.
Going 9. Okay. Adam?
I'm not bullied into this, but I'm doing a 9 as well.
I don't know. Adam, Sam thinks you were bullied.
If you know what's good for you, Adam, you will. Anyway,
you talked to me before the episode. Don't beat me up, Jody.
Don't hurt me, Jody.
I'm going 8.8 because it shouldn't take that long to get to Vulcan.
It shouldn't take that long to get to Vulcan. I'm taking 0.2 off because of the Vulcan thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this as a start to a new story, and as that, this is a 10.
Really?
Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
Kevin's got a lot of 10s in this whole thing so far.
Gavin, give us a rating.
When I like something, I like it.
Yeah. I've been so surprised by some of his reactions.
I bet you Gavin would likely give this a high rating.
Gavin actually did give us a rating, but he did it on the alternate channel, which is X-rated, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
He gave an 8? Okay.
He gave it an 8, yeah.
All right, so that averages at a 9 tonight. I think Sam in the comments gave it a 9.5.
Sam says it's a 9.5.
All right, that was so he likes, well, other than Kevin, he likes everybody else. This has a pretty high rating on IMDb at 8.3 compared to the other episodes. And it's kind of April of 2153, but it's kind of a 3-month span. And that's the end of that one. And so the next episode is called The Xindi.
The Xindi, yes, it is. And that will be the start of season 3 for us, which means we're now officially at our halfway point, and Kevin hasn't quit yet. So we're doing pretty good.
And Kevin
has now. I'm into it.
Yeah. Wow. So Kevin has the lowest average rating of all of us at 6.9.
That was expected though.
But we're all pretty close. Davin is by far, he likes this show much more than us guys. He hasn't rated every episode, but
the episodes he has rated, he's definitely higher on.
Yeah,
I'm still the lowest for season 2 too, eh?
Yeah,
barely though.
Yeah.
Just barely. You and Jody are sort of at the bottom.
You're actually almost where I am, which is kind of, I never would have thought that would happen, but what can you do?
Now that I've seen season 2, though, I feel like 6.6 for season 1 is a little high.
Yeah, it might be.
There's some good episodes in the first season, though. But there was a lot of bad episodes.
There was a lot of bad.
We were reaching, trying to find the good.
We're like, don't worry, season 3.
It was a lot harder to find the good.
Actually, Dave, what we were saying, don't worry, season 2.
Yeah. We're always like, it's always better next season.
We did say that.
It's the biggest con we've ever pulled. So it's
the biggest con we ever pulled was getting Kevin on this show.
The last half of season 2 was good. There were some really solid episodes.
Yeah, that's true. There was.
I think it was good. All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode. We can probably close the book and look ahead to the Xindi.
But there isn't just closing the book on this episode. There's a lot of other stuff on this.
Lots of other podcasts. Star Trek Deep Space Nine on Tuesdays. We continue our ongoing quest to watch that show.
6 now, right?
We're into 6. Tomorrow's episode is episode 10 of season 6. It's known as Waltz. It's with Ducat and Cisco in a cave.
It's got to be a good episode if Ducat's in it.
Oh,
it's a really good. It's an excellent episode.
It's great.
So looking forward to talking about that tomorrow with Kevin and Jaemeel and maybe Jeff. We'll see. And who knows?
And maybe Jeff. Oh, maybe.
We'll
see.
And then Thursday we'll be talking about Star Trek Prodigy. Davin and Jessica and I we'll be talking about the newest episode, Mindwalker, episode 16 of season 1. You should check out Prodigy, guys, if you haven't already. So it's definitely something maybe worth binging over the holidays. It's been a cool sequel in some respects to Voyager. And then Star Trek Radio Theater coming up this Friday, where we're doing the live record of Star Trek The Final Frontier. Adam's playing Spock.
God is almost done, by the way.
Jody is God. We got Kevin as Claw and John, and I'll be McCoy. Davin playing Cybok, and all the other Live Long and podcasters.
You know what?
Various
I watched an hour of this movie last night, and I think we're going to do a much better job.
We can't. Wow. It's only uphill from here.
The bar is pretty low on that one.
This movie's great. It's just great.
It's going to be hilarious.
It's great for the wrong reasons, though, Kevin, and that's the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is Friday. Whoa. Okay. Good thing you told me that.
Yeah. No, Friday, everybody. Yeah. Much like with Jeff last Tuesday, I was like, Jeff, you're good for this, right? Or Wednesday, I think I talked to Jeff, and he was like, oh yeah. All right. Check off. Okay. So this is coming up. So check that out on Fridays, the live record. And then we'll have the edited version to come. Plus the Locutors of Trek podcast here on Live Long and Podcast. There was a Treckle Trunk tonight with Davin and Dave. They were talking about the IDW's Lower Decks, number 3. We were on last night. We were doing the trivia. I wasn't on, but Kevin was on with Mr. Scott. I was watching, and Ashley and Davin. They were all doing the Trouble with Trivia in the Live Long and Podcast Science division.
Nice.
It was a lot of fun. I was playing along from home, but not doing very well keeping score. I laughed
probably
out loud.
Outside influences on that one.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And then every time I didn't get an answer off the bat, Jane was ridiculing me, saying, you didn't know it either. You didn't say
so. That's why.
Or I would say like the answer, but it wasn't quite exact. And she was like, that would not count, she would say. So
not for you. You're too good at trivia.
Yeah.
You have to be exact.
Just saying. But lots of great stuff here on Live Long and Podcast, all kinds of podcasts.
But we don't just have stuff on Live Long and Podcast.
No, that's right. We're part of a federation. A united federation of podcasts,
Indeed.
if you will, which includes all kinds of great shows, including let's go in order. On Tuesdays, there's X-Rated, the animated series with Davin and Andre. They're going to be doing an interview of the woman who voices Storm from that show.
These guys just keep getting great guests, man. This is a podcast that people should be watching.
They're pre-recording that interview and then releasing it, so check that out. Plus, they're now into season 4 of their rewatch of that show. It is excellent, and their intervieers they interviewed Lenore Zahn, who is the voice of Rogue, also a former member of Canadian Parliament, among other things. And they're going to be all coming back for the X-Men 97, which is coming out I think next year. From Marvel, a continuation of that show. So it's really exciting. Plus, his co-host Andre has one called the Graphics History Podcast. They have another interview coming up with what was it, like a stuntman from an old movie? I don't know. So there's some interesting stuff going on there with Graphics History Podcast. Hold Up every second Wednesday with Davin and Murphy.
Murphy says they're in the holiday mood at Hold Up on this Wednesday, December 14th, covering Christmas movies, The Apartment, Gremlins, and Tokyo Godfathers.
The Apartment's a Christmas movie? Really? Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Christmas party at the beginning.
It's the whole basis. Mm-hmm. So technically,
depressing movie.
Cool show there over on
very depressing movie
on Hold Up.
Gremlins in a way though is pretty depressing too, though.
It also doesn't hold up.
Well, we're gonna find out because it's actually. I'm about to get there, but Wednesday. We are brothers. Super Mario Brothers podcasting, covering the finale of Survivor 43, the 3-hour finale, which will air from 8 to 11, and we'll be on shortly after. I'll be on with Jaemeel and Jeff Mader and Josh Foster talking about the finale of Survivor.
Josh Foster, where did you pull him out of?
Well, we got him. He's now over on our Survivor podcast on Wednesdays. Nice. So yeah, and if this guy who Sam picked wins this Survivor, which he still could, he's one of the final 5, Jesse, we might get a Gilligan's Island podcast coming up soon, because that was the bet. And
3-hour tour.
With all of that, and I think you were asked earlier, will you be doing fun facts for Gilligan's Island podcast?
Oh my God, sure.
You know what would be the biggest kick in the teeth? If we do that podcast and it becomes the most popular one.
Amazing. I would
laugh
more.
Actually,
you know what? I'm going to promote the hell of it just so that can happen.
Yeah. How do you know he's going to win, though? How do you know Jesse's going to win, Sam? I'm curious. But we'll see. So, and then what's coming up here on as well? Friday, there will be KBBL, the Simpsons podcast with Davin, Baker, and Francis. I call them
B is for BYOBB.
I call them baked beans and Franks. Anyway, actually, they may not be on this Friday if Davin's doing the radio theater with us. I don't know.
I think they are doing it.
They're still doing it? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. And then Trivial Debates.
Davin's a busy man. He's got a lot of stuff going on.
Trivial Debates.
He's got another thing going on here.
We got Saturday morning, a Christmas-themed Trivial Debates with myself hosting. We got Davin Skellhorn, we got Max Duda, and we got Sterling Slowcock Bennett in this great Christmas-themed episode.
I'm going to go out right now and say Davin's going to win.
He could. I will try to.
I'm Team Davin for this one.
We got what's the most timeless Christmas movie that will go on to the foreseeable future?
One of them is going to pick Gremlins. Guaranteed.
What's the best one-off Christmas special made for the small screen?
Obviously, Star Wars.
What is the best rendition of Little Drummer Boy?
Oh God.
Oh my God, you actually.
We're doing it. We're doing it. And the answers are in, and it is interesting.
I'm sorry, everybody, for that question.
Yeah.
That's Kevin's fault right there.
It is.
Yeah.
In sports, we got what's the most heartwarming film featuring a winter sport? So it's more winter sport. Than,
obviously, Cutting Edge.
That's what Jane wanted to go with because her brother's in that movie.
Really?
And and then history. Besides Christmas, what annual holiday is the next best thing? And
Arbor Day.
Arbor Day.
Arbor Day.
And wild card. What is the best but most underappreciated Christmas movie? Something that is a Christmas movie but not necessarily thought of as such. So
Die Hard.
Like Die Hard, but none of them have answered Die Hard. So
it is a Christmas movie, though. I don't care what anybody says.
I'm tired of that one. Just stop.
Yeah.
And
I watch that every year. Christmas.
And lastly, the Hellbound podcast, a horror podcast with Alex Blackburn, Michael Chan, often on Wednesdays, and often with Jessica Chan, where they talk about horror things.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. That's all. That's all.
I predicted we were going to do 90 minutes on this episode.
You did say that.
I did.
Yeah.
And we're almost at 90 minutes now. So.
Well, we need some filler then for another.
Oh, geez. We got to fill. What are we going to do here?
That's okay.
Shall we sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat?
No.
Should we do Row, Row, Row Your Boat? No, we're going to get that on Friday.
We're getting on Friday.
I am so glad that I am phoning in my lines. I am so glad that I don't have to be there for the
Who's doing that? It'd be Adam.
The reason I watched an hour of it last night because I wanted to see if I had to do that.
Yes, you do.
No.
No?
Yeah. He's just an observer.
Oh, Spock doesn't sing?
No, they try to get him to sing, but he doesn't sing.
He sings at the end.
Lucky you.
So it's just me and Murphy.
You and Murphy.
He sings at the end, though.
Does he join in at the end?
Yep.
Does he? Okay.
I just
he
watched
does
it
at the end of the movie.
You're on there, Adam. You're gonna have to do it.
All right, I don't care.
But here's the question: if Die Hard's not a Christmas movie, is Star Trek Generations a Christmas movie?
No.
It's the closest thing. It's the closest thing a Star Trek movie is.
That was a fever dream in the Nexus.
I like that movie. I think it's a Christmas movie.
It's not a Christmas movie. How dare you? How dare you? I'm gonna bully you into this.
Well, we got some interesting picks, guys, coming in for this one on Trivial Debates on Saturday morning with Sterling coming from Australia. It's going to be fun. So,
Well, I would assume he's just broadcasting in. He's not actually showing up, right?
yeah, something like that.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
But you're not
actually.
flying
I'm
him
more.
in. We don't
I'm
have
always
that
more
kind of
nervous
budget.
about Max getting Max there on time.
Yeah, getting Max to show up on time is going to be your biggest problem.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that's it for tonight, guys. We can close the book on this one. And we'll see you
Goodbye,
next time
season 2.
for the
You
Xindi.
treated us fairly well.
And let's get ready for those Makos. All right. See you next time, everyone. Live long and podcast.
I'm gonna need all the muscle I can get when we cross into the Expanse.
Indeed.